Hello and welcome to another episode of Archaeobotany on Agri-History. In this episode we'll cover 5 plants and their symbolism in different parts of human history. Let's get started. The first plant we'll cover is the crocus. The crocus is a well-known genus of plants with many different species all across the world. In 2000 BC, the Hittites lived and celebrate a festival where certain bulb plants, which include crocuses, were used, including saffron. And to this day, similar celebrations happen in Turkey on the 6th of May, where different types of crocus bulbs are shared alongside wheat. In Greek mythology, crocus species are symbolic of resurrection and reawakening, and even heaven. These are used as indicators of nature's rebirth, and these became important in the cult of Ariadne, the Crete and Phaeron goddess of vegetation. There have been many different on the island of Phaos. There are many Minoan frescoes depicting crocuses. In a site called Akatori on Fera, detailed scenes of young girls picking crocuses have been excavated. The regular patterns of crocus appearing in this painting seem to suggest some form of cultivation was happening of crocuses. This dates back to the 2nd millennium BC. Similar cultures also existed in the Nile Delta of Egypt, although the saffron was mostly used for religious offerings, similar to the cult of Ariadne in Minoan culture. Still yet another fresco in Minoan culture depicts a goddess sitting on a throne characterized by a large collecting basket with the surrounding figures wearing saffron-colored dresses. This, in combination with other frescoes, indicate that a fresco was considered a symbol of adulthood. Now on to the seed daffodil. Seed daffodils are relatives of the amaryllis. They are also depicted in Minoan artwork, with many frescoes and paintings that have been dated back to the 17th century BC. These seem to be associated with a veneration of another goddess. In another fresco, there's a depiction of a priestess bending over, holding a ritual apron in her hand. These priestesses seem to be associated with the underworld and death, further indicated with depictions of seed daffodil on Minoan sarcophaguses, one of which has on the left side a seed daffodil painted, and on the right side a griffin. The later civilization known as the Mycenaeans, which succeeded Minoans, have blades with depictions of seed daffodil on them. Now into the symbolism of silphium and giant fennel. These two species are commonly used herbs. Silphium is extinct now, but giant fennel still exists. In ancient times, silphium was a universal remedy and commonly used as an aphrodisiac, and was depicted on signet rings, coins, and many pieces of art. It was also historically used as a contraceptive and as a means of causing an abortion. The giant fennel is depicted in Greek mythology as a plant used to bring fire secretly from the realm of the gods to the realm of humans. It is also used by the god Dionysus of ancient Greek mythology. His entourage of drunk party girls called the Maenads often make use of this stuff. In Greek mythology, Dionysus was also considered the grandson of Aphrodite, the goddess of love in Greek mythology. Silphium is depicted as a symbol for Aphrodite, especially on Mycenaean signet rings, found in 1877, which had a detailed depiction of a silphium plant with a young woman, Aphrodite, sitting underneath it. Although other scholars believe that the symbol represents the cycle of life and death, since other depictions showcase the plant dying and then reviving. Now on to the iris. The iris is common in Egyptian culture as symbols of victory, power, and royalty. During the reign of King Thutmose I, rhizomes and bulbs of iris were introduced from Syria to Egypt, and stylized depictions of iris flowers are depicted on scepters of pharaohs. In ancient Greek, iris meant rainbow, which comes from the name of the god's messenger, Iris. Iris would take the souls of females to the underworld after they died. There's a 17th century fresco depicting Orpheus frolicking with his wife Eurydice before being bitten by a snake, and Eurydice falling to the ground with a iris across her collar, symbolically showing that she's dead. Similarly, in Turkey from the Ottoman Empire up to the 20th century, had the iris be used as a symbol for graves. In Japan, however, the blue iris was a symbol for bravery. In medieval Sweden, it was used as a symbol for protection against smooth talkers. It was also used in ancient times as a symbol for the Virgin Mary. It later became a symbol for Sir Thomas Aquinas, the well-known Christian theologian. The iris was also considered a symbol of chivalry and was used in heraldic albums in Sicily, Navarra, Hungary, and Britain. And the famous French symbol called the fleur-de-lis was derived from an iris species and was introduced by King Louis VII in France as a standard for the Second Crusade. And in modern days, it's used as a symbol for a sports club in Germany. Now on to our final topic. Lilies. Again, we all know what lilies look like, but did you know they have had great cultural significance in Mediterranean and Middle Eastern civilizations? Let's talk symbolism. The Assyrian and the Egyptian empires both used the lily as a symbol of kingship, as well as a symbol of virginal innocence and the bridal state, as found in Solomon's Song of Songs. It's also been associated with the Hebrew flower of Solomon, also known as Judaism's Star of David, indicating that both symbols are derived from the lily. In Minoan culture, it held a wide array of different symbolisms and meaning. The lilies surrounded the throne room of the priest king of Minos, as they're used as decorations alongside griffins, and several frescoes depict both red and white lilies. It's also the symbol of Ariadne, goddess of fertility and prosperity. The Greeks and Romans also portrayed the lily as a symbol of love and procreation, and was likewise used to make bridal wreaths. In the Byzantine era, a mosaic depicts the Tabor Mountain with the transfiguration of the Christ, surrounded by lilies. Another painting depicts the first bishop of Vania, who stands in the center of a golden cross surrounded by a paradise landscape, characterized by green meadows, trees, lilies, roses, and many other plants, signifying the glorification of God's kingdom. In the Middle Ages, red lilies were used as a symbol of the Virgin Mary, symbolizing chastity and purity of the soul. One of the kings in the Middle Ages, known as Charles the Great, created a botanical garden with 73 herbaceous plants, which included lilies. All these plants were used for medicinal purposes. Strabo, the abbot of the monastery of Reccio, who lived between 809 and 849 AD, made a poem venerating the lily as a means of treating snakebite and as a symbol of purity of faith. Lilies are also portrayed in various paintings of the creation of the earth and the expulsion of Adam and Eve from paradise, the latter being painted by Giovanni da Paolo. Leonardo da Vinci also used lilies in symbolism in the painting the Annunciation. In modern days, the painter Augusto Giacometti, the pioneer that led the way to abstract painting, also made paintings of lilies. That covers everything. Thank you for watching.